Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Fig Fed News, your fake figure wrestling news for July 23rd, 2024 edition. Let's get started. Of course, just this new and improved. I did also finally add the NWA into that, and I also added some new stuff. The news. So World War III from now on will be taking place, and it will now feature 10 superstars from NXT, NWA, and ECW, as well as 30 from the WCW roster. So when that 60-man takes place, it'll include 10 from each of them as well. World Collide, however, will be a 3-brand show once a year between NXT, ECW, and NWA, kind of combining them up to make an interesting card with stipulations on the line, such as the losing brand not being eligible for the draft as much. In talks right now with Ultimate Brand, these are guys who could basically be on their way to the company. Mark Henry, Omos, Chris Adams, Christopher Daniels, Alex Shelley, Ludwig Borga, Bad News Brown, Elijah Burke, Hercules, Paul Roma, Hugh Morris, Phil LaFron, Doug Furness, The Patriot, Barry Horowitz, and Alex Riley. Currently scheduled to report to development camp: Braun Strowman, Shane Douglas, Mike Awesome, Disco Inferno, Steve Corino, Snitsky, and Ty Dillinger. These could also change as time goes on. Yet to debut, however, but are currently contracted Chuck Palumbo, Johnny Stamboli, Buff Bagwell, and Taka Michinoku into the NWA brand. So let's get started. This week, Raw held a show as they continue on their tournament towards crowning a champion as Virgil defeats Dino Bravo by pinfall. Andre the Giant defeats Fandango by pinfall. Grayson Waller would defeat Austin Theory by pinfall. Val Venus would defeat Cassius Ono by pinfall. The main event would see TJ Perkins defeat Hulk Hogan and Eddie Guerrero by pinfall in a triple threat match after Chavo Guerrero could not attend the event to take on Hogan, was scheduled the main event. However, Hogan and Eddie will fight each other at the pay-per-view to advance to the next round in a kind of secondary chance. Over on Heat, the Mexicals continue their one-defeated streak, defeating Jesse Gemini, Nunzio, and Jimmy Snuka. Afterwards, Nunzio did say he was making a phone call to call in some boys. Stay tuned for that. Elias defeats Razor Ramon by pinfall, and the main event would see The Miz and Chris Masters defeat Money Inc., that's IRS and $1 Million Man, by pinfall. Over to WCW this week as Clash of the Champions took place. The Rock would open up with defeating Big Boss Man. Hideo Itami defeats Kushida, Rich Swann, Tony Nese, Cedric Alexander, and Kenzo Suzuki by pinfall to become the Cruiserweight Champion, the inaugural Cruiserweight Champion. Spirit Squad defeats Magnum TA, Nash Carter, Tommy Dreamer, and the Great Muta by pinfall in an 8-man tag match. Test versus Brock Lesnar ended a double countout. The Nasty Boys become the inaugural WCW Tag Champions, defeating Rocky Johnson, Tony Atlas, DDP, and Bam Bam Bigelow by pinfall. And Rhino defeats Kurt Angle by pinfall for the United States title. The main event would see Stone Cold Steve Austin defeat Goldberg to win the WCW Heavyweight Championship. Over though at the Clash of Champions Thunder episode, this took place before the show. Bull Buchanan would win a 13-man battle royal to become the WCW Hardcore Champion. D'Lo Brown defeats Canyon by pinfall after they both went to a countout last Thunder. And the main event would see Daniel Bryan defeat Shelton Benjamin by submission to become the WCW World Television Champion. No show this week for NXT or for ECW, but NWA had a show as Too Cool defeats Norman Smiley and Jake Atlas by pinfall. Eric Young defeats Tony Mamaluke by pinfall. A small hype video for Taka Michinoku was shown, and Cody Rhodes defeats Perry Saturn by pinfall in the main event. Over to AEW now as Swerve Scott defeats Orange Cassidy to retain his TNT Championship. Brody King and Murphy defeated Lucha Bros by pinfall. Darby Allin defeats Hook by pinfall to gain a TNT Future Championship match. And Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe defeat the Young Bucks by pinfall in the main event. Ring of Honor also had a thing as Stu Grayson defeats Keith Lee by pinfall with the help of Dark Order. Private Party would go on to defeat Miro and Danhausen by pinfall. And Wheeler Yuta defeats Brody Lee by pinfall after Keith Lee got his revenge on the Dark Order. Impact also had a show this week as Dustin Rhodes defeats Sammy Guevara by pinfall. Killswitch and Jack Perry defeats Santana and Ortiz by pinfall. The main event would see Andrade retain his title over Ricky Starks, the X Division Impact title that is, by pinfall. AAA held a show this week, no titles on the line, as Retribution. Mason T-Bar defeats Samu and Peter Maivia by pinfall. Rikishi defeats Omos by pinfall. And the main event would see Damian Priest defeat Sheamus by pinfall. No shows this week for Red Impact or UWF. As always, World Council is not holding anything yet, but all these titles will be crowned at the end of the year. So until that next week, stay safe.